Welcome back to another episode of the BAP. On today's show, two runway overruns for Embraer ERJs yesterday, one at Pemba and the other at the Greater Rochester Airport in the States. More aviation safety news with two further accidents on the African continent. Lufthansa grounds two Airbus A321 freighters after cracks discovered in the fuselage. Employment news, Lufthansa looking at hiring more staff, Emirates as well. Ground collisions seem to be on the rise around the world. And a judge blocks the JetBlue and Spirit merger. Airlink also to start redoing the Durban-Bloemfontein flights. And Ryan and I give you our predictions for the Sean Strickland Dricus du Plessis flight on the weekend. Hey, pal.
Hey, guys.
What's happening, man?
Hey. Glad to be back. Interesting week news-wise for the pod.
Quite a lot happening. The main news, the Airlink flight 4 Zulu 204 operated on an Embraer 135 experienced a runway excursion. Pemba yesterday. Looked rather wet there. The aircraft had 32 passengers, 3 crew members. Everyone disembarked safely. And Airlink, of course, will assist with the retrieval of the aircraft and cooperate with the Mozambique CIA and the accident investigators for a formal investigation. Relatively common to happen on an ERJ.
Particularly on a
wet runway.
Yeah. I think the other incident involving aircraft in the States was also in pretty bad weather. But yeah, well handled by the crew. Everyone disembarked safely, which is a good outcome. The aircraft itself, from the pictures I've seen, doesn't look like it's too badly damaged. So polish off the mud flaps and then hopefully get it out of there and back in operation fairly soon.
Do you think it's that easy these days? I think there's obviously a few things that come from it and questions get asked, and no doubt Link will have all their ducks in a row. But nonetheless, questions always get asked when things like this happen. And the one in the States was a 145. Looked almost like it was snowing there. Slid off the runway early evening during landing as well. So, yeah, I think questions do get asked. Yeah, you really feel for the crew.
Yeah.
They obviously go through a range of emotions, I suppose is the right word.
Yeah, I mean, there's all the reporting and the police explaining how did this happen, looking at the data.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a cuck one to happen. And look, as long as there's a safe outcome, at the end, that's all we are really worried about. But yeah, I wonder why it's such a common thing to happen on the ERJ.
That particular one doesn't look like it had thrust reversers, the Airlink one. It's that sister aircraft, I think, to the one that went off in George all those years ago.
Apparently so.
So, yeah, we'll see. But obviously that plays a major role. There's been some more pranks, actually. A pilot was killed and another injured after a Fokker 50 operated by Kenya's Jetways airline crashed in a building in Somalia. The aircraft was transporting humanitarian aid. Sources say after the crash, the building was in better condition. That's good.
Yeah. Quite a common thing to happen in Somalia.
And then another one, Ethiopian Airlines -8 Q400 suffered a runway excursion and a landing gear collapsed after landing in Ethiopia. No injuries reported as well. So it was a bad day yesterday.
Yeah.
Hey, four of them, things happen in threes. So the 3 on the African continent and the 1 there at Rochester. So, yeah, hopefully that's the end of it. You normally wait for the other few to happen. So
shucks, no, we don't need any more.
No, definitely not. Hopefully that's it. But actually, yeah, I don't know. My thoughts are with the crew, particularly of, locally, the Airlink one. Carrying on, I just saw this just before we started the pod, a Lufthansa cargo 321, a couple of them freighters pulled off the line because of cracks in their fuselage. The first time such an issue been found on that aircraft. and they've pulled it off the line in precautionary measure. While the cause of the cracks is unknown, it is speculated that a heavy ballast fixture may have contributed. Okay, so the reason that I bring this one up, can you imagine Boeing had the same thing? I know it's a totally different story, and one, must realize that doesn't say what age these 321s were, but it's a freighter, so it could have been a converted freighter as well, and you probably find it's a much older aircraft. It's not a brand new machine. So they kind of stood the test of time. But, when something like that happens, for this being on an Airbus, you actually have to go search for that article to report it, whereas you've still got this rolling commentary on CNN about the Boeing Max story. So, yeah, anyway, interesting.
Yeah.
Carrying on, sticking with Lufthansa. This one is cool because it ties into what we spoke about yesterday. Lufthansa plans to employ approximately 13,000 new staff in 2024 with a focus on cabin crew and flight deck and technical positions, IT jobs as well, and ground operations. 13,000 is a lot of people.
That's a big number.
That's big.
It's a big number. Look, probably a drop in the ocean for an airline that size.
Yeah, but still.
I mean, that's a hell of a lot of positions being filled, which is good, man. It's great for our industry. And I wonder where they're going to
find the people.
Yeah.
Where are you going to find the pilots? Where are you going to find the cabin crew? I don't know. Emirates, the same thing. They need 5,000 new cabin crew in preparation for the A350s. And that's pretty major.
Yeah.
5,000. So doesn't say anything about flight deck crew, and I assume that's because the phasing out of one type and the pilots will move across onto another. But yeah, good news. Emirates certainly a big employer of SAFers and that. So yeah, and because it's flight attendants, a shout out to flight attendants, because there's an article here as well. Flight attendants are urging passengers to pay attention to the pre-flight safety demos and instructions. Recent incidents such as the aircraft collision and blown out door highlight the importance of being prepared for emergencies. Passengers are often distracted by smartphones and other entertainment options. Airlines have tried various methods to capture travelers' attention during the safety briefings, but the issue goes beyond technology. Flight attendant staffing has been reduced, while the number of seats on planes has been increased. Passengers are reminded to follow the safety instructions, leave your luggage behind during the evacuations, and always wear your seatbelt.
So I kind of like this one. It's pretty interesting because
that's
do
true.
You think that the world has become way too lax in this? And the last couple of times that I've traveled, I've noticed that, in previous years, you weren't allowed to have your phones on, let alone have earphones in your ear.
Yeah.
Now, just about every single passenger's got a set of big Bose headsets, noise-cancelling headsets at that. So you're not going to hear fuck all of the announcements. I mean, we know, we've all seen the announcements 10,000 times, blah, blah, blah. But still, it's an important safety aspect. And I wonder, is it because the flight attendants have kind of gotten softer or just given up and trying to get passengers to obey the rules, or is it society that's just become a little bit more lawless?
I think it's a sign of the times. In saying that, in South Africa, when you travel, there's still they don't let you have your headphones on when the demo's going on. They don't let you have your phones or your iPad up when you taking off or coming into land. So things in South Africa are still pretty controlled and strict. That's actually good. But you're 100% right. On Air France, when you're sitting in that seat, you got your headphones on and your in-flight entertainment going, and no one is listening to what's happening. Obviously, the safety demo is all done, on the TV, which takes over from whatever you were watching at the time. And I must say, the airlines have got these very, very clever safety demos these days.
Yeah.
They're very good. But they like a safety demo, and it's a bit of advertising at the same time.
Yeah, they modernized it a bit. Quite like a,
so you make a very valid point. But I don't know. I think people are so addicted to their devices, and so it would almost be like a negative. You could judge a flight as terrible by the fact that your cabin crew member did not let you use your cell phone for the first 20 minutes of the flight or whatever.
Yeah.
You would actually go and write a terrible review on the airline. And I
Okay.
think a lot of it is that. They probably don't want to risk it. So they say, well, look, do whatever the hell you want. And it's wrong. This article is correct. Listen to your cabin attendant.
Yeah.
The flight attendant, from a safety perspective, is critical. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
They don't realize it. The cabin crew are the ones that are going to save your bacon. When things go bad at the end, they're going to get you out. They're going to direct you to the right. They put you on the wrong side. They get you out the wrong slide. You could be going straight into a fire.
Yeah.
So listen to them and pay attention. Yes, you'll be going to go park in Cape Town or wherever it is, and you're sitting next to some moron or person in front of you, and the first thing they want to do, the plane hasn't even stopped. The skipper hasn't even shut down the number one engine yet. And, these oaks are standing up. Where are they fucking going?
That pisses me off.
Yes.
That honestly.
And people get in this like...
and all they do is stand up in this rush, and then they get squashed and crowded in this aisle, sticking their asses in everybody's face.
It's just so annoying. And you always get that one clown who's... he's trying to get his bag out first from the overhead, and now he's sitting there holding his bag like a hero.
Yeah. Because the best as well, they take their bags out, and the oak's got like a backpack, puts his backpack on, and then he's he chopping
turns.
everybody.
Yeah.
You want to say to him, listen, you fucking ticket.
People become, they lose their marbles on an airplane.
No, they get
a
stupid.
normal, intelligent person on a plane, just the intelligence level drops.
Yeah.
You do an IQ test on a plane, you're 50 scores below what you should have been. It's crazy. But yeah, I saw that article and I think, no, that's right. With everything that's gone on. And again, going back to that Japan story, I'm telling you, lives were saved there because of compliance.
Oh, yes.
That culture of compliance that they have, lives were saved, and good cabin crew members getting the people out that airplane in a timely manner. And I tell you what,
put it to you this way: the cabin crew were paying attention to their jobs.
Yes, yeah.
And that's why lives were saved.
Yeah.
You remember that advert when we were Latis, that one of that like German chick where she goes, I only want to hear one click.
That was Sunny.
It was a Sunny advert.
It was Sunny because they were trying to rip off Spuries at the time who were ultra parrot and that was an excellent advert.
It was. I mean, that always stuck in my mind. I think, unfortunately, people have kind of lost their respect for the cabin crew's authorities, and that's something that must be changed.
Yeah, you almost want, and so Link had this accident now, and they got one cabin crew member on a 135 there, and I still think like one cabin crew member. I know there's slightly less seats on that aircraft, but up to 50 seats, I think it is.
Yeah,
they need one. One cabin crew member looking after 50 people in the back is it's no small feat.
Exactly.
It's not easy, and particularly when things go south. So, yeah.
Imagine they got to deal with an emergency, because I mean they're on their feet all day, every day.
It's tiring, and people are demanding, and they come up with these sort of stupid requests, and then this person's catching a flight later in the day. Can you go ask the captain what time we're going to land, because I don't know if I'm going to make my connection. So she's got to act all nice and go to the flight deck, and meanwhile the captain says, "Fuck, I don't know. Go tell them whatever you want."
Yeah, that when we were flying, that was actually the one part I dig the most as well, was the fact that you could sit there, face forward, close the cockpit door, and not have to stare.
That was
those
the
people in the
easiest
face and deal with their shit, especially when we were delayed.
Remember with the delays, and obviously, I mean, SA Express. I think if we did something well, we were good at the odd delay. We were world champions at being delayed because of no aircraft and shoddy scheduling.
That's for sure.
So and then you close that door, and as you say, you're not in the line of fire. You go off and do your job, but then the cabin crew are lumped with dealing with those annoyed passengers.
Often felt for them. For a lot of them, it's a cool job, and I suppose they do find it rewarding in some ways, but it is a shit job. Yeah.
It's not easy. Not easy. Let's move on. There's been a few ground collisions of late. Korean Air A330-300 and a Cathay 777-300 were involved in a wing clip incident in Japan. Heavy snow conditions, probably poor viz. Both aircraft sustained damage. Incident follows a similar wing clip incident at Tokyo Airport in June 2023. That was two A330s operated by Thai and Eva Air. And then Jan 14, two Boeing aircraft collided on the apron at O'Hare. FAA investigating. There was a ANA and a Delta Airlines flight. The left winglet of the ANA struck the stabilizer of the Delta while the ANA was out taxiing. So yeah, there's quite a few of this going on, and I still think it'll help if the ATC looks outside.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all, everything is so you rely so much on systems and that, but seems to be a lot of these going on.
There's so much, man. In the last year, I mean, how many runway incursions, near misses, and ground collisions have we seen? It's a bit ridiculous.
There's a lot,
especially with like all the camera systems in the airplane. Yeah, can't totally blame the pilots, like you say.
No, you can't blame
the ATC does play a role in that.
Look, particularly with pushback
control,
and things like that, then the pilots are at the mercy of the engineer and the wing walkers and all the rest. But it seems to be a lot of this going on. So obviously something that will
probably
need
people
to be
stuffing around too much on their devices.
Could be stuck there on your device, 100%. A federal judge has blocked the JetBlue Airways proposed purchase of Spirit. This has been going on a while. The DOJ argued that the merger would lead to higher fares for price-sensitive consumers and eliminate competition in the ultra-low-cost airline sector. So it's good that they do these things. They look at it and they say, no, look, you actually, this merger is going to make life worse for the consumer.
Yeah.
And therefore, we're not going to let it happen.
It's really nice to know that there is someone out there paying attention to it.
Because I don't think we have one of those set up. Yeah,
because I mean, flying at the moment is pretty expensive.
It is.
It's actually.
It is expensive. It's flipping expensive. It's so expensive. There's an expo going on in aviation thing going on in Cape Town, beginning of mid-Feb, and I was going to go. It's so pricey, Paul. It's like it's not just the airfare; it's everything. To go to something like that, obviously you got a bit of an entrance fee in there. You got your tickets down, and then you got hotel accommodation and
car rental.
Car rental is flipping expensive, and then on top of that, it's the mining indaba in Cape Town over that week, which just blows the hotel prices right out the water. I mean, I'm not going because of that. And it's a pity because it's a local domestic little stint and it's actually unaffordable.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Something else that happens as well, I mean, not aviation related, but when there's events like that, like the local restaurants and that in the area, I'm sure hike their prices because, I mean, you have to eat out.
Yep.
And that in itself can become a pretty expensive exercise. Yeah, so it always up. Yeah. What do you say?
Traveling is expensive. In saying that, going overseas, I'm comparing it to a trip to Cape Town. And in fairness, both Safair and Link and even Seme check their tickets, all roughly in the same ballpark. The ticket prices is doable. I think the airlines are doing their bit, But everything else, man, make traveling for South Africans difficult. There should be a little bit of local
forgiveness
for forgiveness.
Because I think they do that overseas.
Yeah, they do.
Even like
they do.
Wanting to go to one of these more elaborate bush lodges.
Mm-hmm.
They are pricey.
Mm-hmm.
Rock up there with your South African passport. You don't often get much love in terms of discount either. They want to.
No, that's good for the Euro
market.
payer, someone with dollars, not not the Tsar, that's for sure.
No.
But on a positive note, if you can go on a lekker holiday to Bloem from Durban if you want on Link, because they firing that route up again.
So that's more competition on that route, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Semi are already operating that route with a 1900.
I'll be lying if I knew the answer.
Yeah.
And having an aviation podcast, we probably should know the answer to that question, but I don't. But yeah, Airlink will be operating Durban Bloem, no doubt, with the 135. Hopefully they get that one up and running in time.
Yeah. So, lekker. So the Vrystaaters can still get down to Natal in a reasonably quick period of time to visit the beach for a weekend.
Sorry. Yeah. All right. But, stuff all this aviation news, because there's some serious news for the weekend. Sean Strickland, who's actually a flipping legend. I'm not going to say why. I'm not going to put it up. But if you want, go listen to his press releases before this fight. They kind of I kind of relate. And
how to say it without saying it, but I get it.
And then Dricus has really been a sport as well, because I mean his popularity's just gone through the roof. And not just here locally, overseas as well. The guy's a legend, and he's fighting now for. This is a title fight for the UFC. It's a South African fighting for the title of the UFC. You got to be up early in the morning on Sunday morning to watch this.
My alarm is already set. I'm looking forward to it. No doubt we'll be exchanging messages watching that that early in the morning. And look, agree. Sean Strickland is a very good contender. I think he's going to give Dricus a run for his money. But in terms of staying patriotic, I know that my Afrikaans mates would all say, "Kom Dricus, geef hom 'n pille wapper," because it's 10 decibels louder than a poesklap.
Yeah. Now I'm really keen on this. It's in Toronto. It's going to be a hell of a fight, and it'll open the door, obviously, for a lot of other some very good MMA fighters in South Africa, and this puts South Africa very much on the UFC map around the world. So
very
let's
exciting.
go, Dricus. This is like as big as the World Cup final, man. That's big. This is big. So looking forward to that. But thanks, Paul. Good show as always. Always enjoyed it. If you did and you enjoyed the show out there listening or watching, and you have a question, you can leave a comment. And if you want to see more videos, podcasts like this, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you all. Thanks for choosing Bryan Air as your aviation podcast of choice.
Greatly appreciate it. And thanks for all the support and all the messages throughout the week. Everyone, we really, really do dig it. And from our side, have a great weekend.
Bye for now.
Ciao.
Let's go, Dricus.